Hello YouTube, it is Championdjk coming at you again with another diecast video, and today I am super pumped to share these with you. The Tomica Limited Vintage Neo Testarossas. We've got the first gen Testarossa and the 512 TR, which is basically, I guess, could be considered a second gen Testarossa. So Tomica Limited Vintage Neo, these just came out. These actually were ordered from Japan Booster. So happy to get them. Actually watched, Lamley showed these last night along with the whole rest of the release. Fantastic video about those. But I wanted to show them as well, and I've got, I don't know, maybe a little bit different take on it here, just because this car to me was just a fantastic car of my childhood. I love this thing. This thing and the Countach, the Lamborghini Countach, were like the two cars that I thought were the most amazing. And of course the Porsche 959 as well, which I collect all of those in die-cast form. They're like my favorite cars to collect. I have a Porsche 959 collection, I've got a Lamborghini Countach collection, and I have a Ferrari Testarossa collection. So before we get into these Tomica Limited Vintage Ferraris, which I know you probably clicked on the video to see, we're just going to real briefly, this is the car that would have started it all for me. I remember being able to find these on the pegs. It's not the first release from Hot Wheels of the Testarossa, but this would have been the one that when I was checking out Hot Wheels when I was a kid, this one could be found on the pegs, and I probably bought a few different copies of it. There were different variations and stuff as far as this back bar, part of the interior being tan or black or red or tan. There's a bunch of different ones that have come out over the years. There's a lot of different variations of this casting, and I think it's a pretty decent one for Hot Wheels. This is, I believe, the first Hot Wheels that came out. This car I will open up at some point here during a 10 Car Tuesday episode, so subscribe to the channel if you're new, and stay tuned for that. But this is the car that really kind of started it out, or this diecast car, I suppose, that started it out for me as far as collecting the Ferrari Testarossa. And of course, a lot of other brands have done it in the past. You've got this one here. This is a Matchbox Ferrari Testarossa, which I've got several different variations of this vehicle as well. Pretty decent job Matchbox did on this one. CORGI had their hand in a Ferrari Testarossa. Here's this one here. And I pretty much collect any Ferrari Testarossa in 1/64 scale from whatever brand, from cheap off-brand China stuff, like whatever this is, to Hot Wheels and Kyosho and beyond. And then Hot Wheels actually does have a version of the F512M, which I suppose could be considered the third generation Ferrari Testarossa. And here's this one here in Miami Vice. This was in a Retro Entertainment series. Very cool looking, very awesome. And I hope that they do put this car out in white. I really do, and I will definitely have to get it if they do. Pretty cool. And then Kyosho wise, Kyosho has the exact the 512 TR, which is this guy right here. And a Kyosho, it's a very fantastically well made die-cast car. This comes as a model kit that you have to actually put together, which I've shown in a previous video. But it's a very good version of this car. We're actually going to keep this one out because I want to take a look at it in comparison to the Tomica Limited Vintage, just basically for scale reasons. We're going to keep it out. And then they also do, Kyosho also does this one here, which is the F512M, which is the final version of the Testarossa. And they do, I don't think they do a straight up Testarossa, but they do this one. This is a Testarossa Roadster. Which in real life only existed as one official car, which is a first-gen Testarossa made to be a roadster. Actually, you know what? Yes, they did, I believe, do the first-gen Testarossa, but it's in the first series of Kyosho, which wasn't very good and is why I don't have it. I think it had plastic wheels even. I could be totally wrong, but yeah. And then, of course, we got Tomica Premium. So Tomica Premium did put out the Testarossa as well. Very, very cool. This thing was a hit. It came out last year. This one has plastic tires, but very good looking. Plastic base, and has the pop-up headlights, which is just so cool. So this is still available. You can still find these fairly inexpensively. So if you do want to get your hands on one of these, going to be a lot cheaper than getting what you see behind you. Same with the Kyosho stuff. Those are fairly cheaper than what you see behind you. But now let's get to the creme de la creme of Ferrari Testarossa diecast, and we are going to check out these sweet Tomica Limited Vintage pieces. So we're going to start with the Testarossa, the first gen, basically. Packaging, yes, the packaging is beautiful. It really reminds me of something that you would get, like, I don't know, like a cologne in or something like that, or maybe a brand new iPhone. But yeah, it is packaged quite well. It's got this nice matte finish, this foil printing, and just looks really good. And then we're going to open it up carefully. This is what you get inside here. Gloss black, same foil printing. Nothing printed on the other side. But a nice little piece of cardboard there with some writing on it that, of course, I am not able to read. And then we get this plastic bubble that protects the car. And there's the car nestled in there in a nice little, like, cellophane piece. I'm going to carefully pull the car out ever so carefully here. Try not to drop it. And then I'm going to set it down right there. So we don't need to look at the packaging for the other one. There's a detailed look at the packaging involved. There's no extra components with this one that you have to glue on or anything like that, which Tomica Limited Vintage does like to do from time to time. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I like it much better when the model just comes whole, as it should be. And here it is. So right off the bat, of course, this looks beautifully accurate. It looks great. Size-wise, the Testarossa from Tomica Premium is bigger, and it's listed as being larger. And the Testarossa from the Premium, what scale is that listed as being? I guess it really doesn't matter. I think it's like 161 or something like that. So yeah, 161 scale. So it's a bit larger. But this one's got a lot of play value. Obviously, you won't be playing with this car. Or maybe you would if you're a baller and you got a bunch of these. You're going to throw them down a track. They do roll quite nice. There is suspension on this model. It's got side mirrors that you probably would definitely want to be careful with. This one's got an all black interior. I think a tan was definitely a popular color for the real car. Black probably was somewhat popular as well. Here it is. Your base is metal. Car body, of course, is metal. The tires are very, very soft rubber. You do have some lens detail right there in the front. You do have an insert back here for the taillight. Exquisitely detailed with the Ferrari logo right there. Little tiny printing of Testarossa right there. And then, of course, the engine bay opens. And I'm going to try to do that ever so carefully. There it goes. And we get a fantastic amount of detail in there. Check that out. Beautiful. Just excellent. The line of the opening part looks pretty good. You can see a little bit of a gap there that obviously is bigger than a 1/64 scale gap, because it's impossible to really make that in 1/64 scale. Absolutely 100% like invisible when you close the item. But I think that's as good as you can possibly get. And just a fantastic looking car. And also almost unnoticeable right away, but it does have the yellow center lock thing in the wheels. Or a yellow painted center of the wheels. I don't think it's a center lock, but pretty awesome indeed. And yeah, this thing rolls. It looks awesome. Of course, this is not the first Ferrari that's been out in Tomica Limited Vintage. We have the Ferrari F40 and the Dinos, which I do have those as well. Those are also beautiful pieces. Any Ferrari model that they put out in red, for sure, I'm going to buy. I don't know if I'm going to try to get every single variation of everything. I already did not pre-order the Dinos that are coming out in white and black. I may go back and get those. I do not know. but this is definitely a collection to have. I'm going to tell you right now, your best bet is to pre-order this through somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be Japan Booster. There is Hobby Link Japan that also offers these up for pre-order, but you definitely are going to want to do that. That's the way you're going to save the most money, is by getting ahead of it and getting on it right away. These pieces are probably going to appreciate in value quite a bit. That's just my prediction. Who knows how long Tomica Limited Vintage is going to hang on to this leased license and continuously produce these. I think there's going to be a run of them for a short period of time, and then I think they probably will stop. So if you need any comparison, take a look at some of the Porsches from Tomica Limited Vintage and see what those go for on eBay, and you will definitely regret not being around to buy them if you're a Porsche fan when they first came out. All right, so there's this guy here, and she is nice. And then we'll move it aside here for a second. We'll go ahead and open up the 512 TR version, which is actually, I think, my favorite version of the Testarossa is the 512 TR. I like it better than the one after it, the F512M. The F512M had a lot more of a 90s look to it than this car. Even though, well, this car came out, so this car was 92 to 94 was this one, so it was only out for 2 years, this version of the Testarossa. And then the F512M was 95 and 96. So the standard Testarossa, the original version of it, was actually out the longest. It was from 85 to 91. They produced that car. But this, to me, is, I think, my favorite version of the Testarossa. It's kind of got the best of both worlds. It's still got the flip-up headlights. And it's definitely pretty cool. I hope they come out with a F512M, though, to round it out. But very, 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 very cool. This thing looks absolutely fantastic. Again, it's got suspension. It's got a metal body, metal base. Beautiful red paint. Flawless. And, of course, it's got an opening engine bay. And there's the motor detail in this one. Let me just open the other one again here once. Just want to see if the motor tooling. Yep. There you go. That's another cool thing about Tomica Limited Vintage. They didn't slack on anything. Even though these have basically the same motor, you can definitely see differences there in the different generations. Really awesome. And I don't know enough about the car to tell you what the details are and the differences between the two, but maybe I should have looked that up before this video, but pretty awesome. Again, this also has the yellow in the center of the wheels. And you're just, you're just not going to get any better than this. I think with these Ferraris, Tomica Limited Vintage has officially hit, or become, I guess, a little bit more popular. A lot more people are looking at them because of these Ferraris. Obviously, this wasn't their bread and butter. It's not how they started, but I think it's fantastic that they're doing it. It really makes it more of a fun brand to collect for me. I like the older Japanese nostalgia stuff, but I'm not as passionate about it as I am about these kind of cars, and mostly because these kind of cars are what makes me think of dreaming about owning a supercar when I was a kid. That's that childhood passion or for cars and loving the way they looked and checking them out and thinking they were amazing and all this other stuff. I kind of relive that in my diecast collection, and that's why when cars like this come out, it's something special to me. So I think it's very, very awesome. This thing is super sweet. The Kyosho is no slouch either. The stance is not as good on the Kyosho. Obviously, the Kyosho doesn't have any opening pieces. There's a little bit of detail that it doesn't have that the Tomica Limited Vintage has. But look at the taillights too on this one compared to the... So it's a little bit different. Doesn't have the yellow in the middle of the wheels. It's got the little logo down there. You know, it's very close. So, you know, and I would say if you can't necessarily afford to purchase this car from Tomica Limited Vintage, this would be not a bad second choice. And of course, me being a collector of this car, I want both in my collection. And I'm lucky to have both. Lucky to be able to have both. So, very, very cool. So again, if you want these, you can find them out there still. They're still available. I believe Japan Booster is still selling them on their eBay page. You can find them. I don't know if HobbyLink Japan has any of these left, if they're selling them still. But if they are, and you can find them, and you can find them for, you know, probably $60 or under, you probably did yourself pretty good. Got yourself a pretty decent deal, I would say, because I don't think there's going to be any prices going down on these Ferraris, especially these red ones. So there is also a yellow version of this one, the TR, out there. I don't have it. It's definitely going to be an expensive one to procure should I decide I need it. I don't have the yellow F40 either. That was another one that had come out. That was more of a, I don't know if it's like a Tomica Mall exclusive or something like that. Japan exclusive. So I don't know if I'll ever get either one of those. Those would be really cool adds to the collection. Yellow's definitely not my favorite car color anyway, but it would be cool to do it, to have a complete collection. There's also a exclusive white variation of this out there too, which is another one I'm missing. But to get them in red is really to get Ferrari in a proper color. Pretty awesome. So I do hope they release this one in white. That would be really cool. So, all right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Again, super stoked to get these cars. They're just beautifully done. They're just fantastic, and there's really absolutely nothing to complain about them. Yes, they are expensive, but to me, they're worth every penny. And down the road, if you ever dared to get rid of them, you will definitely get your money back. So that's pretty much a guarantee, I would say. All right, guys, so thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching. Have yourself a good day.